Warning, this podcast contains heavy spoilers for not just one movie, but entire franchises. We highly recommend going and watching these movies before listening to us as a companion piece that stitches all the timelines into one creepy, crime-ridden story. There will be no more spoiler warnings. We do not break character. After this, there is no turning back. You've been warned. Hit the music.
You are talking about the nonsensical ravings of a lunatic mind.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's
Hello, welcome to It's Alive podcast. It's a true crime, paranormal, interstellar podcast covering unbelievable stories that sound like they were ripped straight from the pages of a Hollywood script. I'm your host, the outlaw, Dr. H.R. Smokenstein, THC. And with me, as always, is my very own Scream Queen, the perfect combination of beauty and brains, the bride of Smokenstein, the India horror, the expert, the guts and gore, the gorgeous, the sexy Amy Rose.
Hi.
Now, Amy Rose, I have been plaguing you with serial killers for weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks now.
You have.
And you've been begging me to do something just a little different, something more in your wheelhouse, and to get a bit spooky. So we're going to do some paranormal shit today.
Paranormal.
You are more of a paranormal person than me.
I am.
I am more of a psychotic, slash 'em up kind of person.
Nice.
So if you see me in the street, come and say hi. Anyway.
Okay.
So you want to kick us off here?
Yeah. So tonight we're looking into one of Australia's most quietly terrifying cases, the disappearance and death of 16-year-old Alice Palmer. So on December 21st, 2005, Alice went swimming with her family near Ararat, a small rural town in Victoria. What started as a sunny afternoon ended with a tragedy that's been haunting the region and the Palmer family ever since.
Always Ararat. Nothing good ever happens in a town where the main attraction is a correctional facility.
Ooh.
It always fucks me up as well that their summer is backwards.
Oh, yeah. So they're like
their summer
sunbathing
is,
at Christmas,
yeah,
turkey on the
yeah,
beach.
Yeah. It confuses me.
Yeah, they
You
get
know,
their summer
we're
holidays.
on our summer holidays. Dude, it's December. What the fuck you doing?
Well,
It's not like it gets cold there in fucking July, does
apparently
it?
it gets really cold in the evenings. I don't know how true it is, but I have heard that as soon as it gets dark, like it's
But it's like that here.
No,
In
but I
summer.
mean in comparison to how warm it is during the day, like when nighttime comes, it's freezing apparently. No, well, not frozen over, but like
Winter temperatures, Australia.
18 degrees. Celsius.
Between 3 and 15 degrees. the
Do we
average.
really kind of hit 15 degrees in winter?
Well, I suppose no. We're usually kind of our winter. We're usually kind of like 1 below 2,
Yeah.
1, 2, and then below.
Dead of winter, yeah, exactly.
That's it. Average. In Canberra, average nighttime temperatures hover between 3 degrees and daytime highs reach 16 degrees.
See, that's what I'm saying, like.
So I suppose, their winters. They'd have to wrap up. You'd have to wear a jacket. You'd have to wear a jumper.
You'd have to wear, I wonder if it's a different kind. See the way they say, it's a different kind of hot over there to what we get in Ireland. I wonder if it's a different kind of cold.
Is. You know the way I
It's
sweat.
because it's other places aren't
It's
as
humidity.
humid because we're such a wet country.
But that's it. Over here in Ireland, anytime we get like a slight bit of sun,
Mm-hmm.
I am just flooding.
You are.
Like fucking
As long as I've known you. So
flooding.
even since before we were going out, I've known you to just be naturally a very kind of sweaty
As
person
soon
during the
as-
summer. Like,
it's like watching when you're watching Atlanta.
Yeah.
And Paperboy's walking around the place and he's constantly got beads of sweat in his fucking face. It's like, that's
Oh,
me
Jesus.
in the summertime here. And then we went on holidays to Spain, which was much hotter than it was over here.
And it was easier to bear.
And I didn't sweat at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all.
The first time I saw
topless
you
all the
sweat
time,
that bad during summer, I was looking at you and I was like, oh my God, that looks like torture.
It was.
Torture.
And that was when I still had hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to put hairspray in because I'd like tie my hair back. But then I get these little curls in the corner of my
Like
head.
these
So I'd look
little
like
kiss curls,
fucking
yeah.
Mozart. walking around the place. That's what I always felt like,
Yeah.
with like fucking Mozart. So I'd fucking put gel on them and then I'd spray my hair to keep it fucking all back flat because I hated when it frizzed up. Which is probably why I have none now, because I destroyed it with fucking hair products throughout my teenage
That's
and
a
20s.
lot of hair products.
But that was
You
the
could
worst
knock
part
on
of
it and be
was,
like,
as soon as I started sweating, my eyes were stinging. My mouth had this shitty taste of fucking hairspray in it. And it was
Oh, yeah. Hairspray tastes like shit anyway when you spray
and
it.
I'd still have the little curls inside my hair.
That's
my hair
because the
frizzing up
sweat was sweating off everything, Mark.
I can't win.
So, yeah.
So this place is known for specifically, well, you told me before the show, this is where Noah's Ark apparently
No,
landed.
different. Mount Ararat is like in over where the Bible is set. This is Australia. This
Over where
is
the
Ararat.
Bible is, so you try not to say Israel
No,
and
I
get us all in
can't
trouble.
think. I can't. I don't know if it was Israel or if it was somewhere else, kind of eastern. I don't know exactly where it was, but
In
it's
the fictional
sorry,
land
it's
of
Turkey.
Israel.
It's not. It's Turkey. Mount Ararat is Turkey.
When we were covering the Grail,
Mm.
conspiracy theory, did we
Mhm.
not say the same thing about Masada? Was Masada originally in Turkey as well?
Mount Ararat is a peak in Turkey. Masada is
Because I know the Grail's one was in France.
no. That's Masada.
That was Israel.
Is Israel. It's a national park in
The
Israel.
fictional land of Israel. I know that place. I've read about it in books. It's right where Palestine actually is.
Actually, is yeah. That's the one. That's the one.
I know that space. Anyway, back to this
Okay.
thing.
Well, Ararat in Australia, not Turkey, it's a place built on history, both human and otherwise. When Alice vanished, people first assumed a simple drowning. The reservoir where she went missing, Lake Mungo, is deceptive. It's calm on the surface, but it's dangerous underneath.
Like me before my 2 morning coffees.
Absolutely. Like most of the cases that we cover. The search went on for several days. There was divers, local volunteers, police dogs, but nothing. Then 3 days later, her body was found a few kilometers from the swimming hole. Swimming holes sound dangerous with just their name. Do you not think a swimming hole?
Well, I mean, like, notoriously lakes and
Are
stuff
dangerous,
like that are
yeah.
dangerous. I mean, you go on about currents and seas, right? Which is fine, because the current could wash you away or whatever. But without the salt in the water, you're not going to float.
No.
So you will sink quicker and get into more trouble in a lake than you would in the ocean.
Also, the depth of lakes is very inconsistent.
Varies, yeah. Whereas obviously you're going out into the sea, there's a slant.
Yeah.
I mean, like, now even in the sea, you got to be careful, because we spent our entire summers by the beach in caravans, and I've even seen it, and my parents used to always be like warning us
you.
about it. Like, my dad always had this rule before we go out: he'd fucking just chop the side of his hip, and he'd be like, "No fucking further than that."
Mm-hmm.
Once you go past your hip, you turn the fuck back around, start walking towards the land. And
Yeah,
like,
well, a
"Alright,
riptide
no
can come
problem."
in and take you out, no problem. Like,
Yeah,
so.
but as a kid, you're like,
You're not thinking of
fine,
it.
I want to
Yeah,
go, I want to be
yeah,
as
yeah.
deep as I can and all this kind of shit. But I mean, how fast you can go from fucking hip height to neck height in like one step
It's terrifying,
is
really,
so
when you
quick.
think
It's
about
just,
it.
whoom. And then in a lake, you have the problem of you have the bed, the bed
Lake
of
bed,
the lake. Like,
yeah.
it's not coming in at a slant. It's just fucking whatever rocks are underneath there making.
Well,
up
the
fucking
lakes is
foundation.
all like glacial erosion, so you could have a massive fucking
That's it.
hole down there. Like,
So you could stand real close to the fucking coastline and still be fucking neck deep in the fucking shit, and then be standing in the middle of the fucking lake and standing fucking with it up to your knees.
exactly.
You know, it's
But one
just-
step that way, and you could be
and whoom, down.
gone.
So lakes are notoriously more dangerous than the sea.
But
for
even
some
in Ireland here this summer, we had a good few lake deaths. This summer we had a very good summer, so people are obviously out.
Well,
but it was
the
just
Dead Sea. The
yeah.
idea of the Dead Sea is there's so much salt in it, it keeps you floating.
Exactly.
So
Go lie
without
down and have a
that
sleep.
salt,
Yeah.
you're not going to fucking float. So in a lake, it's harder to keep yourself up above water
Mm-hmm.
than it is in the ocean.
Yeah. So with Alice, the coroner's report listed drowning as the cause of death. There was no signs of foul play and there was no struggle. The family identified her remains. It was supposed to be the end of a tragic but straightforward story.
And yet here we are.
Yep.
Which means it definitely wasn't.
Not even close.
But think about it, when this identification process actually leads to more fucked up shit later. The mother, what was the mother's name again? Is it June or something like that. She didn't want to actually. She didn't want to identify the body because she didn't want to
remember her.
Yeah, she didn't want to remember her daughter looking like that because
her
obviously
father,
when you're underwater for a prolonged
there's
period
bloating,
of time,
there's bits of skin missing.
you're going to
Depends how
start
long you're down there. Discoloration.
But that's it. You're going to start. What's the word again when you start to decay quicker? And
decay is slower, but it's more.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, is in. Well, I suppose you'd be the same.
There's awful body. Do you not remember when the body was found in the suitcase here in the River Liffey in Ireland?
June, I was right. Yeah.
When we were younger, there was the body.
Scissor Sisters.
No, this was different to the Scissor Sisters. It was an actual body in a suitcase, and they were trying to identify him. And it was my first time seeing a body that had been all bloated from the water.
I thought that body turned out to be.
I don't think so because there was a head fat. Like this guy's head was still attached to his shoulders because they released photos of him because they couldn't identify him because the bloating was that bad. But I do
remember the story. Yeah.
I was shocked at the look of him. I was like, how does he look like that? And my dad was explaining to me because he'd been underwater in a suitcase for so long. Like, but they couldn't identify him because of how his face was like.
Yeah, I suppose whatever weight mixes with the blood and the organs.
Exactly.
Are starting to decay, and then you have the water effect coming in, and whatever little creepy crawlies are in the water, they're getting into your skin and doing their thing.
Well, it was a big thing at this because they don't release those kind of photos here, but it was for identification purposes. Like they wanted to know who it was. That's what
fucked up as well with the West Memphis tree when those 3 kids went to fucking prison for killing falsely accused of murdering those 3 children.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was said about them was because they were found in the lake, that the boys had mutilated the bodies.
No, it was snapping turtles.
Mutilated the bodies in a satanic fucking ritual, and what it was there was snapping turtles in the fucking water, and it was because they had mutilated the penis, is what they said. And what it actually was that the snapping turtles were just going for the fleshiest, loosest, easiest place to fucking rip off first. And that was the dong.
Exactly.
Dong.
So in the weeks that followed Alice's funeral, her family began reporting strange disturbances in their home. There were noises, flickering lights, and objects moving. Classic haunting tropes, except these weren't strangers telling ghost stories online. There was a grieving family under scrutiny with everything documented.
And everyone processes grief differently, right? Some people go to therapy. Some people start podcasts. Some people install night vision cameras.
Yep. And the Palmers chose the third option.
And if you go way, way back and listen to our show on, what was the name of that demon again?
Pazuzu?
No. I can't remember the name of the demon now, but it was about that family, the couple that put the cameras up and watched their house for a while and saw all this shit going on.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a good idea.
No.
You don't want to see what's moving around your house when you're not looking.
No, exactly. It's like the sneaker
Half the time, I'm afraid to edit these videos in case there's something right behind me right now.
Usually me. So Alice's brother Matthew decided to record the activity. He set up cameras throughout the house, in the hallways, bedrooms, and outside by the pool. What he captured became the foundation of one of the most unsettling domestic mysteries Australia's ever seen.
Let me guess. It didn't just catch a cat knocking over a lamp.
Nope. It caught something or someone that shouldn't have been there. And this is where the Lake Mungo case begins to unravel, because once you start watching the footage, you have to start asking a different question. Not what happened to Alice Palmer, but when.
And also, who the hell was that in her room?
Exactly. To understand the Palmer case, you have to picture the day that she went missing. December 21st, the beginning of summer in Victoria. The Palmers were spending the afternoon at a dam just outside Ararat. It was supposed to be routine, like swimming, photos, and family time. But at some point, Alice went under. According to her brother Matthew and her parents, she didn't cry out. She just slipped beneath the surface and didn't come back up.
That's kind of detail that never stops bothering me. And it's something that I hear quite often. Like, people assume drowning is going to be dramatic.
With hands,
yelling. But it's actually really quiet. It's one of the most silent ways to die. It's like, no, you see me. No, you fucking don't. And that's when the panic sets in. It's like, where the fuck are they gone?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? It's not like you see in the fucking movies. It's not Pamela Anderson running out with fucking David Hasselhoff to save you. It's like, there they are having fun. Where the fuck they go?
Yeah, exactly. It's quick, like. And within seconds, Alice was gone. When her body was found 3 days later, decomposition had already set in, and still her dad identified her. The coroner noted nothing unusual. No signs of injury, no defensive wounds, no water in the lungs, inconsistent with drowning. They buried her in Ararat and tried to return to normal life.
Which, for anyone who's lost a child, is scientifically impossible.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the brain literally would have to rewire itself around that kind of grief. I mean,
it's a different life from then on. Like,
I think as soon as you have a child, that is instantly like fear number fucking one. What if something happens to them? Do you know? And how am I going to function after? Because I've openly said it before. It would be like, so we have 2 kids, so you have obviously the other side of it of, well, now I gotta put all my fucking time into the second kid to make sure, you know, they're okay. But to lose a child would be like essentially losing your happiness forever. Yeah.
I feel
rubber stamping that you from this day on are only living because you need to provide happiness and or only feigning happiness to provide a better life for the child that's left, but you're never ever going to be whole again.
It's like an older friend, she's a good bit older than me, a couple of decades, but she kind of a few nuggets of wisdom every now and again. But a long time before I ever had kids, she was wrecked one day, and she kind of said to me, she's like, you just have this tiredness once you have kids that never leaves you. And I was like, what? Like from running around after them? But she said, what you said. She was like, no, because it comes from this worry that you have constantly at the back of your head once you have children, that will be taken away from you at some stage.
Yep.
So that grief that her parents felt, that it showed. Alice's mother, June, started sleepwalking. Her father, Russell, began leaving lights on around the house, in the hallway, the kitchen, the garden. He said it made him feel less alone.
And not to be insensitive, but I feel like that's how every haunting story begins.
Yeah.
Someone leaves a light on and something else notices.
Exactly. You're not wrong.
Come on in.
Because about 2 weeks after the funeral, those lights started turning themselves on. Neighbours said they'd see figures in the Palmers' windows long after midnight, silhouettes where there shouldn't be any. The family thought that they were imagining it, but when they looked back on photos and videos taken before Alice's death, something strange kept showing up.
Something like Alice?
Exactly like Alice. There were photos from her phone, her friends' cameras, and images that seemed normal until you looked closer. A reflection, a figure in the background. Her face pale and still, peering out from impossible angles.
You know, sometimes I think digital cameras are the real paranormal investigators here. Nothing like megapixels to ruin your peace of fucking mind.
Exactly, you know? Because with digital cameras, there's no overexposure. There's nothing like that. But it wasn't just the cameras. The Palmers began hearing footsteps, doors opening, breathing, and then Matthew, who's only 16 himself, decided to take matters into his own hands. And he borrowed some video equipment from school and started filming their house at night.
Teenager solving family trauma with surveillance gear. I feel like Freud would have had a field day.
Yeah. You'd think it was like just a way to distract himself. But the footage he captured would change everything. At first, it showed nothing, just a quiet suburban home at night. But then one night, there was movement. A figure standing outside the window of Alice's room.
Could it have been someone from the search effort, or maybe a local trying to peek in? Or
they
something,
thought that too, yeah. But when
Looky
Matthew... Sorry?
A little Looky Lou.
Looky Lou.
You know?
But when Matthew enhanced the footage, the shape looked familiar. Too familiar. And the posture, the clothes, even the way she held her head, it looked like Alice even.
So either someone's staging a really cruel hoax or they caught something they weren't supposed to.
That's what they wanted to find out. So Matthew set up more cameras in the backyard and in the living room and in the hallway. And each night is the same thing. Subtle movements, lights flickering, and shadows. And then one night he caught a full figure walking past the doorway, the unmistakable outline of his sister.
Every part of my skeptical brain wants to say glitch, reflection, whatever. But if I saw that in my house, I'd have to move immediately. And now I've seen the video, and I mean, like, we watch a show every week called Paranormal the Cotton Camera, right?
You can kind of tell the real
thing.
Yeah,
when we watch it, kind of judging the reactions of the people in these situations and what you're seeing. My first reaction watching this was, that is the most, if it's an apparition, it's the most solid apparition I've ever seen.
Otherwise, you got an
life.
intruder.
know?
Yeah. But like, you wouldn't be the only one to want to move. But the Palmers, they didn't want to move. They leaned in and they started trying to talk to whatever it was.
Brilliant. Always a great plan. When the afterlife calls, pick up. And that is my fucking belief in this. Because again, when we are watching Paranormal at Cotton Camera, and these paranormal investigators go to a haunted house
find a
to
fucking
make
ghost.
contact with a ghost. That's the goal.
And they're like,
Let's
oh,
go
it's a ghost.
And then
We
as
gotta
soon
run
as the
away.
ghost says hi, those two, they are hiding. It's like the fucking Looney Tunes. It's just
Yeah,
puff of
gone.
smoke in their shape and the door fucking hole
What
in
were
their
you
shape
trying
and
to
they're gone.
achieve?
Like,
Really,
well,
like, do you know?
you said hi. They said hi back. Why are you running?
yeah. Like the curiosity or maybe even the denial led the family deeper into the mystery. Because what they didn't realize yet was that Alice had been keeping secrets long before she drowned.
And those secrets were about to crawl out of the dark.
Yep. Because by February, the Palmers were living in a house that didn't feel like theirs anymore. The lights would switch on in empty rooms. Their doors opened on their own, and the family photos fell off the wall. That's the one I find creepiest. Every night, they'd play back Matthew's recordings like they were waiting for Alice to tell them something. But if she was trying to speak, she was not using words.
Classic ghost problems. Terrible communicators. They're
Terrible.
known for being terrible communicators, which is why they scare most of people off. If you've crossed the veil of death, just learn Morse code or something. You know, just be like.
See, in my case, that would be creepier because I can only Morse code SOS. So there everyone goes good SOS.
I say, and I will admit, for all my shit talking here, I still get the creeps thinking of that fucking piece of audio that I fucking caught that time.
Oh, the knocking that we caught when we were covering the Enfield. Yeah.
And I'll actually bring up Enfield again in a few minutes when we're discussing the next part of the story.
But we could
But
not
just
replicate
to
any of
recap-
that.
Yeah,
like.
just to recap this back for people. So a long time ago, actually, when we were talking, I can't again. What was the name of that fucking? 1 second now. Go
Enfield?
Name. No, from the series we were covering.
We should put in elevator music here.
Yeah, that would be a good idea for all these times that we have to look at stuff. Toby, but he had there was a longer name for it, and I can't fucking remember now. But Toby,
Tobias?
No, it was a more fucking. What was the
Asmodeus.
Asmodeus, god damn it! I was driving. I knew it was close.
To Toby.
I don't know how you get Toby from Asmodeus, but
Because it's Asmodeus is from the book of Tobit.
Anyway, when we were covering that, we were also covering the Enfield haunting on the bonus show on Patreon. So during that, I got a load of recordings from Enfield done by the paranormal researcher at the time, whose name escapes me at the moment. But one evening, I decided to download one of these apps that allow you to record the electrical waves in the room and if you could hear a ghost and all this stuff. So we're kind of sitting around the kitchen and we're watching TV and I'm fucking around with this app. And I press record and I just leave it record for a few minutes. And nothing's really happening and we're just kind of sitting there watching TV. And then I pause and I'm like, I gotta go take a leak. So I stand up, take my phone with me, and I have my headphones on. So I just thought here's I wonder if anything got picked up in the background. If there's any ghosts. Kind of being fucking sarcastic and funny with myself about it. Next thing I play it and I'm there taking a whiz, and next thing all I hear, and this is significant because in the Enfield haunting, they were hearing constantly. And the idea and the reason they felt they were hearing it was because during World War II, when the Nazis would come over and bomb London or England, the neighbours would let each other know that there's something happening and to get to the nearest bomb shelter by knocking on the paper thin fucking walls to let them know. So, you know, your neighbour be like, and then the next one will be to the next house. And they were hearing that, and that's how they made that connection. And apparently the neighbour who had lived there previously he came back and said, yeah, my father used to be in charge of that, and he used to knock on the door, and then the guy lived here, used to knock on the door, and I'd knock on the next one. And so I'm in taking a whiz, and I'm listening to this fucking on my headphones, and I could hear the TV playing that was we had been watching it. I could hear you kind of chattering away. I don't know, you're talking to one of the kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And next thing, all I hear in the fucking song, we did not hear it at the time, was...
we tried to replicate this a load of times. Every single way we're banging
on
cups,
the doors,
glasses down.
Trying to figure it out, and we just couldn't. And then it gets fucking creepier because there's like, oh my God, right, that was creepy. But, man, it's good content, right? We're going to put it on the show this week. Let's do it. I spent hours where I was able to play this piece of audio and it would play. Then I transfer it over and it will go into my editing desk and it would be there. And I'd play it once and I'd be able to hear it. And then I'd go to play it again and an error sign would come up and it wouldn't play that bit of that clip again.
That. But you've never had anything like that happen from clips you tried to put in,
before
or since.
And this clip just kept playing once and then going error. So I couldn't export it. And eventually, this is the God's hand to heart, this is what I did. In my head, I turned around, I remember thinking, if there's something here, please, I don't mean to offend, just let me put this into my fucking show. It'll be interesting and I won't make fun of it. I'll take it seriously. And the next thing I copy, paste it back in, and it's stuck. And stayed there.
Well, I'm convinced if we do have something, because the Battle of Lixnaw kind of took place around here, I'm convinced if we do have something in the house, it's a soldier. So that kind of makes me feel a bit more kind of easy. He's minding us.
So, yeah. And we haven't had anything since. If he's here, he's happy.
Yeah, he's well taken care of. We don't mind him being here. But yeah.
What about how were they dealing with it?
The family, they tried to make sense of everything that was going on. They invited neighbours over. They even had police review the footage. One officer described what he saw as inconclusive. Another reportedly said he didn't want to go back inside that house again. And the footage, it wasn't subtle. A shadow across a hallway when no one was home, or a reflection would be appear on the TV screen and showing someone standing behind the camera operator.
That's the one that gets me. Reflections are nature's way of saying, you're not alone.
And it wasn't just reflections. June, Alice's mother, started having vivid dreams. And she said she'd see her daughter at the foot of her bed, soaked, dirt-streaked, and staring at her. And sometimes she'd wake up outside in the backyard with no memory of walking there.
But sleepwalking after trauma is common.
Yep.
Sleepwalking into a haunting, that's a crossover episode nobody really wants.
Yeah, she became convinced that Alice was trying to tell her something. She even began visiting a psychic named Ray Kemeny, though that came later. For now, the family's focus was on the footage, particularly a series of videos Matthew captured in late January that seemed to show Alice not just as an apparition, but as someone alive moving through the house.
Which implies either time got weird or somebody was staging this.
Exactly. And here's where things take an even stranger turn. So when Matthew finally confessed that he had faked some of the ghost footage using old photos of Alice to project her image into mirrors and windows, the entire family was forced to confront the question that they'd been avoiding. If the fake footage explained some of the sightings, what about the rest?
See, this is what fucks things up. And this is why I said we were going to come back to Enfield. Because Enfield had the exact same problem.
Yeah.
If you ask me, the Enfield haunting for me it's like the Roswell fucking alien thing.
Yeah.
I feel like these are legitimate, real life fucking things that did happen. I've seen the family from the Enfield house recently on television. They're still
terrified.
They are still not right from their experience in that fucking home.
One saw a light come on and she was like, nope, done.
And they haven't made a penny from doing this.
But you can tell it was real reactions though.
Their lives were rude. But the problem was they grew up in a single parent household that was not in, but they weren't impoverished,
well off,
but they weren't doing well. They were, council house. They were
surviving.
They were getting by. Yeah. And when the paranormal investigator, his name is at the tip of my fucking tongue. when he came and started staying at the house, it was like a father figure, and he was really, really, really nice.
But he got trips away and all, like Morris Gross and Guy Longclair.
Morris Gross. So Morris Gross used to come and he'd bring him, you know, a bar of chocolate and some toys and stuff like that, and spend time with him and talk to him. So when the poltergeist itself wasn't kicking up around the place, sometimes the main kid, fucking hell, why am I just forgetting everybody's name right now? Enfield, here we go. Open you up. And her name was... Where the fuck is this girl's name? Janet. So Janet was afraid that, you know, Morris would go. Once the ghost stopped, Morris would go. So then Janet started to put on some of it.
Yeah.
Which affected it in the public view. Of
course it did.
You know?
Yeah.
It hurt because now you're taking away the genuine side of it, and it's like, well, it's all her.
Yeah.
It's none of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening here in this Lake Mungo thing of right now, the son did the worst possible thing he could do. And I think it was probably his grief of trying to try and keep Alice alive in the house.
Yeah.
To try and keep her a part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Make a great filmmaker because the tricks he used were
Creepy.
amazing.
Yeah.
You know, he was reflecting, he was putting on videos he had made of her on the TV and pointing the TV towards mirrors so that it would look like she was in the mirror. He was double exposing pictures. The one of her in the garden was a double exposure of an old picture of her that he had managed to put in. These days, he would have just used Photoshop.
Yep.
You know, and walking through the hall.
Mm-hmm.
Where I said that was a very full apparition and that I wouldn't. That's because it was him in her coat.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he had faked a lot of it, and that just kind of straight away kind of fucks things up a little bit. The only thing about it is it didn't explain everything.
No.
It only explained it a little bit. And here's the thing. Because Russell, the father, he had an experience that cannot be explained away by
his one was
Matthew
creepy.
fucking around with cameras. He said that one day he came into the house and felt drawn to Alice's bedroom. And when he went into the bedroom, he sat down on the bed and he looked up and Alice was sitting there looking back at him.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, she wasn't looking at him at the time. She was texting. That's right. And he was watching her and she was texting. And then he said suddenly she turned around and started looking at him like she knew he was there. And did he say she got aggressive towards him or something?
She seemed it was kind of more aggressive mannerisms rather than aggressive toward him, I think.
And he couldn't explain that. And in the documentary,
she walked out of the room.
Mungo, his co-worker who he'd been working for a long time said that Russell would be a nice guy, not a no-nonsense kind of guy, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, he wouldn't be, he wouldn't be a superstitious guy. Wouldn't be a very spiritual guy.
Yeah.
And that his words exactly was that not to straight up say he believed Russell saw a ghost, but he was like, I believe Russell believes he saw something.
Yes. Yeah.
And then on top of it, you had June's nightmares, which you brought up with the sleepwalk. And the nightmares that Alice was at the end of the bed watching her and while she slept and all this stuff. Yeah. And this was after Alice's death.
Yeah.
And then you know how this all came out, right?
Oh, yeah.
There was another picture of Alice at Lake Mungo at a later date. And the thing about it was after she had died. And it was this farmer or something who snapped a picture of her while he was out walking the dog, snapped a picture and then noticed it in the background. And when they kind of looked at the picture, did a bit of forensic, it was like, it looks like Alice. The only problem was there was a couple named Kathy and Douglas with her who were also out that day at Lake Mungo having a little stroll around.
Who had seen?
And they were playing with their camcorder and they picked up Matthew walking around as well, wearing Alice's jacket, but his face was fully shown. And that was kind of when he had to come out and say, I was faking some of this shit.
Going Norman Bates on this, but with his sister.
Yeah.
So at first, June was furious, but when then she realised something, that Matthew hadn't created all the footage, just a handful of clips. And when she went through the recordings herself, she found things even he couldn't explain. So a reflection of Alice in the hallway wearing clothes that she never owned, a shadow crossing her bedroom wall at the same time everyone was sitting together in the living room.
Okay. So this is where things get kinky.
Ooh.
So what happened was Matthew, after the kind of scandal of him making up some shit, Ray, the paranormal dude, took Matthew off on a little road trip. Asked him to videotape some of his interviews he did with some of his clients. So Matthew isn't even at home. But they leave the cameras running in the house.
Okay.
And when Matthew got home and he sat down with his parents to look through the cameras, there was still somebody creeping around the house. Only thing was, they recognized this one. And it was not Alice. It was their neighbor, Brett Toohey. Now, the neighbor, Alice had babysat for these neighbors next door for a number of years. And not long after her death and not long after this videotape was taken, Brett and his wife, Marissa, took their kids up sticks and moved the fuck away, as far away from this location as possible, and made sure that there was no forwarding address.
Okay.
So the family were getting a bit fucking
Weary. Like,
it's like something's up here. This dude's creeping around my daughter's room, my dead daughter's room. And now that we know what he's doing, he's after bolting. So June went in and she started having a look around the room, and she knew that Alice kept a little lockbox.
Yeah.
So they had fireplaces in most of the bedrooms, but they didn't use them because obviously it's hot. And they put a piece of board. There was like a piece of board cut out to fit that shape, and that's where they kind of hide valuables and safes and stuff like that behind it. So June got a hold of it, opened it up, and inside she found a videotape. When she played the videotape, it was of her engaging in a threesome with Brett Toohey and his wife, Marissa.
How old was she? 16? They were going to be prosecuted in more than one way.
Well, that's why they fucking ran away without leaving a return address. And again, this is what, 2006? 2008? 2006? Oh, the documentary came out in 2008. So now you got this other layer of things going on, this other layer of fucking mystery going on of what was Alice doing in her private life, what was really going on, did her parents really know her at all, and all this kind of shit. But so you have this hoax that's layered over something fucking real, like digital camouflage over a ghost, and so it's just like basically this fake haunting. What starts as a fake haunting has opened up this box of fucking worms, and the family have to unpack this while still dealing with other little bits and pieces happening around the place, because what we'll find as we go on is it's not so much what happened after Alice's death that is the paranormal mystery here, but more what happened before her fucking death.
Yeah. So June later said she believed Alice was haunting them, not to scare them, but to draw their attention to something that they'd missed, something connected to the days before she died. So she went back through Alice's belongings, her phone, her journal, and the photos she'd taken on the last day at the dam. And one image stood out. A snapshot taken at the water's edge showing a figure in the distance.
Another hiker, maybe?
At first, that's what they assumed. But when the image was enlarged, the figure looked wrong. It looked bloated, discolored, and wearing the same clothes that Alice was found in when they recovered her.
So she took a photo of herself then?
That's what the family came to believe. And that somehow Alice had seen her death before it had even happened. The image was time-stamped 2 days before she drowned.
Yeah, so this so far is pretty fucking disturbing, right?
Yeah. It was the turning point. Like, June started seeking help beyond the police and the cameras. She wanted to know why Alice would have taken that photo and whether her daughter's strange behaviour in the weeks leading up to her death might hold an answer.
Before we get into the next part, right?
Yeah.
Because we did forget one big part. Do you know when the apparition went through the house and when they started seeing and the picture from behind of Alice in the backyard.
Mm.
And I don't know how this didn't make Matthew feel extremely bad about what he did or confess then. But June and Russell started to have doubts about Russell's identification of the body.
Yeah, I forgot
He
that. Yeah.
said that she had never looked at the body. And he said that realistically, he said it looked enough like Alice. I mean, you know, with all the putrefaction and what the water had done to her, I assume it was Alice. But they actually exhumed her body and did a DNA test
That's a lot
to
of
ensure that he had
expense.
he had identified the right body. So, I mean,
Poor parents. I would have been furious as well if I was June.
Fuck me. I mean, how
I'd have
could you
been
not fess up
racked
at that
with
point?
guilt.
Like, they're
Yeah,
digging your sister up, man. It's time to come clean.
Exactly.
Anyway, sorry.
So they found psychic investigator Ray Kemeny, and when the Palmers' search for truth crossed into something much darker than grief. Am I saying his name properly?
Huh?
Kemeny.
Kemeny? Yeah, I would say so.
I'll call him Ray.
Well, anyway, yeah, you all bring in a good psychic. Nothing says we've exhausted rationality like paying someone who charges by the seance.
Yep. Sometimes you go looking for closure and find a door that you can't close again. And when people talk about the Lake Mungo case, they always come back to the footage. The endless hours of video Matthew recorded trying to make sense of what happened in that house. Some of it, as he later admitted, was fake. He'd manipulated old photos of Alice and projected them into reflective surfaces to create what looked like apparitions. And it was a strange act of grief, an attempt to keep her visible, but not all of it was fabricated. The difference between the stage clips and the genuine anomalies is what keeps this case alive.
But again, like I said, once you fake one thing in a case, you pretty much started. You pissed on the whole thing. But grief makes you do weird things.
Mm-hmm.
I've once tried to talk to my dead cactus for 3 months before realizing I've been watering a rock. So I mean, you know, it just things get rough.
How the fuck did you manage to kill a cactus?
Huh? Don't bring it up.
People that are bad at gardening
It's
get
still
cactuses.
raw. It's still raw.
That's sad, but it's also kind of on brand. So.
I like to think so. Continue.
So when the faked footage was revealed, the family expected everything to stop. The lights, the noises, and the feeling that Alice was still there. But it didn't. In fact, that's when it escalated. So one night, June woke up to find the back door open and the motion sensors had been tripped. When Matthew reviewed the tape from that night, he found a figure standing just inside the threshold. Like not outside, inside.
I'm guessing no one in the family sleepwalked that time?
No one. The figure appeared to be Alice again. But this time she was different. Her face was obscured and her movements were jerky and unnatural and almost like she was underwater. The timestamp matched the early hours of June 17th, the same date, months earlier when Alice had confided something to a friend that she never told her family.
That's an interesting thread. What did she say?
That she'd been having dreams she couldn't explain. Dreams about being alone and lost and buried somewhere in the dark.
So, premonition dreams. Human brain's worst party trick.
Yeah.
She was seeing the bad thing coming for her.
Exactly. She'd also been acting strange. And friends said that she'd started avoiding mirrors, stopped answering calls, and once confided that she felt something was following her. When her parents checked her phone after her death, they found deleted videos, ones she'd recorded herself. The files had been recovered later with the help of a technician. What they contained, though, was disturbing.
Okay, I'm bracing myself. Go for it.
Well, the videos showed Alice in her bedroom filming herself at night. And in one, she whispered that she could hear footsteps outside her window.
All right, another threesome's about to kick off. Let's do this.
In another, she cried and said she'd done something terrible, though she never said what that was.
That's the post-threesome blues.
Then there was one final clip recorded just days before she drowned, where she seemed to be walking somewhere at dusk and her phone light flickering over the ground. And she looked frightened, like she was expecting to find something.
So she was documenting her own haunting. That's either chilling or wildly self-aware, but all right.
So when June saw the recorded videos, she became convinced Alice had known what was coming. She started reaching out to anyone who could explain it. Priests, psychologists, and even paranormal researchers. And that's when Ray Kemeny came into the picture. So Ray wasn't your usual psychic. He worked with law enforcement before in missing person cases, and some people thought he was a fraud, but others swore that the man had a gift. But when he met June Palmer, he said something that changed everything.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that was my line. I forgot that I do the quotes in this. Alice didn't just see her death. She met it before it happened. That's the sort of sentence that earns you a consultation fee and a lifetime of nightmares.
Kemeny claimed he could sense that Alice had experienced an event, something traumatic that fractured her connection to the living world before she died. During a recorded session, June asked him outright,
"Is Alice trying to tell us what happened?"
And he replied,
"She already has. You just haven't looked in the right place." I swear psychics go all... They just go all out with this vague sounding fucking school of mysticism. They love this kind of shit of... It's like palm readers. It's like they're going to give you the most vague shit possible to get it. It just makes me not trust them at times. I need solid evidence. Give me something solid to work with here. It's your profession. You've been doing this all your life. You're telling me you haven't come across one piece. How can you have your life's work on something you've never actually experienced yet?
Yeah, but yet he wasn't entirely wrong either, because it was Ray who told June to visit Lake Mungo. He said that if Alice's spirit was still restless, the answer would be there where she'd gone missing.
And presumably where she'd buried her secrets.
Exactly. June convinced the family to go with her, and they packed up their car, drove to the dry, cracked basin of Lake Mungo and began to dig.
Well, we better explain that, because I forgot to fucking write a little bit about that. So the reason they wanted to dig... Before a couple of weeks before they went to Lake Mungo, there's a family. She went on a class trip, kind of end of year kind of thing, or well, coming into the summer kind of thing. And while she was there that night, she got progressively kind of not frustrated, distressed. And she, at one point, walks away from the group. And it's at night. They're on a beach. So, I mean, it's dodgy enough as well, you know? But she walks away and she goes to this tree. And there she takes off her favorite necklace, her favorite bracelet, takes her phone, puts them all into a baggie, seals the top, and buries them right by this tree.
That's odd.
Yeah. And when she comes home, she just simply told her parents she had lost all of these bits and pieces.
So what they found buried in the dirt obviously wasn't what anybody had expected. After months of sleepless nights, eerie footage, and cryptic messages from the beyond, the Palmers finally reached out to Ray. And he wasn't the type to pull tarot cards and chant. Instead, he worked in a quiet, almost clinical way, asking questions, observing reactions, and listening.
Basically therapy with a flair for dramatic claim.
Yeah, perhaps. But Ray insisted he could sense the presence of Alice in the family's home. Not as a ghost haunting them for revenge, he said, but as a conscious observer, aware, watching, and trying to communicate. During his sessions, he guided the family through memory exercises. He asked June to describe Alice's favourite places, her moods, and her habits.
Which is also what every private detective would do, only now it comes with the promise of spectral insight.
Exactly. And that insight led to revelations the family hadn't expected. Ray claimed that Alice had been experiencing extreme anxiety in the weeks before her death, and he said she felt as if she were being followed not by a person, but by an event, something inevitable and unchangeable.
So again, a premonition of her drowning. That's a heavy feeling to fucking carry around with you.
Yep, and it gets heavier. So Ray described Alice standing at the water's edge in her final days, watching herself from afar. He said she was unaware of a future self, or she was aware even of a future self, a version of her that would never return home. And the family was skeptical at first, but Ray encouraged them to review Alice's recovered recordings, her deleted videos, and her journals. The more they examined the material, the more it aligned with what he described.
And of course, it's always easier to retroactively make the supernatural fit the evidence.
Yeah, sure. But in this case, even Matthew, the one who faked parts of the footage, admitted that he couldn't explain certain clips. And there were moments in the recordings where Alice appeared, but not as she'd ever been captured. The angles, the movements, and even the reflections didn't match the space that she was in.
So either physics is broken, or someone was meddling with reality in ways I can't even quantify.
Yes. Ray also warned them about the residual echoes of trauma, the idea that intense emotional events could leave imprints both on the world and on those who survived.
Well, it's a big thing that they do say about ghosts and stuff like that, that it might not necessarily be the soul or spirit of the person, but it could be the energy of the person left behind due to, sometimes it could be just a repetitive task that you're doing so often that your ghost will like for instance, in fucking 80 years time, whoever lives in this house after us could walk into this room and see two people sitting here talking to each other constantly.
Yeah. And I think a good example of it as well.
We're doing the same thing every day.
Yeah, and not just
so
repetitive
you're building
movements.
that electricity here, and it's
exactly.
sticking.
And there's that version of it, but I think another good example of another type of energy is like very explosive or emotional energy. So like a good example of that would be, they say that you can see Catherine Howard's ghost. Catherine Howard was Henry VIII's teen bride who he had beheaded because she slept with one of his footmen or something like that. But like basically she went running down the hall screaming at the top of her voice. It's well recorded from like contemporary people like begging him for her life. But that's the scene that people say that you see over and over again because it was so filled with emotion. So there's two types of kind of residual energy.
And there's a slight bit of proof to that in a sense, in my mind anyway. When you look at the shadows left behind by the
Hiroshima bombs.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like energy that got too hot and got stuck to one spot.
I do not like thinking of that because for me, like if the energy is that strong to put a shadow in, how do you know the energy isn't that strong to keep the consciousness in that wall? Like it freaks me out. I don't like thinking about it. But anyway, Ray told him Alice's presence isn't trying to harm you. She's leaving traces and you're seeing her memory, not just her spirit.
Yes. Death is a home security system. Brilliant.
Despite the skepticism, the sessions led to the Palmers to one place, the lake itself. Ray insisted that Alice had recorded something important there before she died. They returned to Lake Mungo, the same quiet, sun-bleached location where Alice had drowned. And according to Ray, the ground itself held answers, buried items, overlooked evidence, remnants of her last hours.
Which is either a brilliant psychic hunch or a very expensive treasure hunt in a very small town.
And when they began digging, they uncovered Alice's phone, the one that had been missing since the day she disappeared. Inside were the final recordings she had made, hidden from her family, documenting events that had terrified her in the days leading up to her death. Some clips were cryptic and others were horrifying. And one, a short, unassuming video taken in the house just hours before she went swimming, showed a figure watching her from a corner, barely visible in the dim light.
And I assume this wasn't a shadow cast by the lamp of her own or her own reflection.
No, the figure moved independently. So its presence was subtle yet unmistakable. And it seemed to anticipate Alice's movements as if waiting for something to happen.
So we're talking about a pre-death haunting, a ghost of the living haunting itself.
Exactly. And the Palmers began to see their daughter in a new light. Not as someone who simply...
Fucking slut up next door, fucking having a threesome with the fucking neighbours.
Not as someone who simply drowned.
She was my good girl.
They started to see her as someone trying to warn them and communicate and perhaps even protect them from an unknown truth. Ray's sessions concluded with a chilling note. Alice's final days had been lived under the shadows of knowledge that she couldn't share. And what she left behind, the recordings, the photos, and the subtle signs, was a map to understanding the events of that summer.
So the psychic essentially said, yes, your kid is dead, but here's a puzzle box of terror she left for you to solve.
That's one way of putting it.
I have so much to show you.
And solving that puzzle will lead them back to Lake Mungo, where the full truth of Alice's final moments would finally be revealed. By the time the Palmers returned to Lake Mungo, months of fear, grief, and unanswered questions had brought them to a single point, the truth of what happened to Alice Palmer. And the lake itself is quiet, deceptively calm. Its red-brown cliffs rise like silent sentinels over the shallow, cracked waters. The perfect place to hide a secret.
Or stage a ghost story, depending on your budget.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, before we move out, we're getting closer to the end here. When we get to the end of this story, I'm going to still be like I was at the start of the story.
What?
There's some stuff that are paranormal that I can't explain, and there's other people who are absolutely pulling your fucking leg here as we go along.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to it. Let's go.
Matthew began digging in the area where Alice had vanished, and it wasn't long before they found her phone, as we said, buried hidden from anyone who might stumble across it. The family brought it home and restored the files. And that's when they saw it.
The video, I assume.
Yep.
Of the threesome.
No.
Oh.
One video recorded by Alice herself showing her walking along the lake edge at dusk. She's holding the camera out, narrating softly, almost like a diary entry. But then something appears behind her in the reflection of the water, a figure that is unmistakably human, standing still, watching.
So not a bird.
No.
Or a whale.
No.
Or a kelpie. Water kelpie. Could be
Why would a whale be in the lake?
Well, a water kelpie would be in the lake.
But water kelpies are found in lakes, not seas.
Exactly.
But whales aren't.
But water kelpies.
Maybe it was a lake whale.
Fucking lake whales. Bastards.
Now, the figure doesn't move much, but its presence is undeniable. And when Alice glances back, she reacts, startled, almost terrified, though she doesn't name it. The Palmers reviewed the footage again and again, and every frame was scrutinised. And in that footage, they began to see what they hadn't before. Subtle details. A rip in the water that moved without wind, a shadow crossing the shoreline that didn't match any natural form, and a reflection that lingered too long.
So what we have here is a pre-recorded haunting. Alice's last hours captured not just for herself, but for the living.
Yep. And the phone contained more than just video. There were text messages she never sent, notes she never shared. They hinted at an overwhelming sense of dread. The feeling that someone or something was observing her, following her, and that her death was inevitable.
It's just horrifying to think of. You could feel like your days are numbered. You know it's coming to end. I mean, most people think of premonitions as spooky, but this is living under the constant shadow of inevitability. It's like being on death row.
Yeah,
You know the day is coming.
Exactly. And it didn't end there. Matthew's camera also captured a strange occurrence at the Palmer house in the following weeks after Alice's death. Objects moved on their own and shadows appeared in rooms where no one was present, and faint voices were caught whispering over the recordings.
And of course, nobody would believe it because Matthew did a lot
You
of
fucked
bullshit
up, Matthew.
beforehand. You fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've crossed from evidence into existential dread here, if you believe it.
The Palmers became convinced that Alice wasn't simply haunting them, she was trying to communicate. The videos, the phone, and even the minor disturbances in the house all were pieces of a puzzle that she'd left behind. And the puzzle had one final piece, a photograph taken by Alice herself moments before she drowned. It showed a figure in the water, not her, but something behind her. And its features were distinct, blurred, yet horrifyingly present.
A water kelpie.
A lake whale.
So even in death, Alice's final hours were being recorded. This girl's like on fucking Big Brother over here.
Yeah.
And what she captured, we can't explain right now with normal science.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what we're saying.
The Palmers believed she knew that she was going to die, and she also knew she would leave evidence. Evidence that they would only understand after months of investigation, psychic consultation, and careful review of her recordings.
This would be a chilling thought, but I have my own thoughts on this. But we'll get to it. To live, to die, and to leave behind a message so layered it can only be decoded after your death by maybe a certain someone. But yeah, go on, let's go.
By the end of it, the Palmers' understanding of Alice had changed completely. She wasn't the daughter that they'd lost, as she was a presence in their lives, guiding them, communicating from the lake beyond the obvious. Communicating from beyond the obvious, even. And Lake Mungo itself, the lake of her death, became both a memorial and a silent witness to everything that she had tried to say.
A memorial with motion sensors and ghosts. Lovely.
Yep. It's a haunting story, and one that reminds us that sometimes the living and the dead are closer than we think. And the Lake Mungo case doesn't end when Alice Palmer was laid to rest, and in many ways it began there. The footage, the photographs, and the whispers of movement in the Palmer house, all of it continued to puzzle, haunt, and terrify.
And yet somehow the family stayed. Most of us would have sold the house, moved across. Well, I wouldn't have. I've always said this, right? If I am not, there's always like this kind of double-sided coin here, you know, two sides to the coin here, because I've always said, like, if a ghost appeared right here in the chair in front of me, and it was like my grandfather.
Oh, that's different.
I'd be like, oh, I haven't seen you in fucking ages, let's talk.
Yeah.
But then people point out, I was like, well, it could just be a demon pretending to be your grandfather so they get permission to stay at the house, and then you're fucked.
How do you know, like?
Well, exactly. How do you know?
You asked them a question only your grandfather would know.
A demon would know. They're smart. They know what they're doing. They know how to weasel their way in here. So, at the end of the day, right, we kind of come to the conclusion. because we could keep going and going away, but we've come to the conclusion here that this girl knew she was going to die. But what I believe Alice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to skip the rest of the shit that I put here because I believe Alice. Okay? I believe she felt these things. We're going to go here. I marked there where we're going to go from and we're going to finish up, but I have to talk about this first. I believe what Alice had to say and that she believed that she was being haunted, that she was seeing her own death. Because one thing, I mean, like, you know, you talk about the one major piece for me was that Alice documented herself in journals that she found she was sleepwalking before her death. Same way her mother was sleepwalking after her death. And her mother said she had nightmares of Alice standing at her bed, at the end of her bed, staring. And in the journals, when they read them later, they found out that before she died, Alice had been sleepwalking into their room and found herself waking up at the foot of their bed staring at her mother and father. So her mother was having nightmares of something that happened before Alice died.
Yeah.
So Alice had been standing at the end of her bed staring at her, but what her mother was seeing in her nightmares was a repeat of what had happened before Alice had actually passed away.
Yeah.
No. I believe the stuff up to Alice's death, right? I believe that Alice felt something coming. I think maybe humans might even have a sixth sense for that of knowing. I mean, you see it with animals. When an animal, like when a dog knows it's dying, it'll come home to die. When an animal knows it's dying, it'll go home to die. All this kind of stuff. So I think that maybe she did have this notion in her. Maybe something did set off her sensors saying, my days are numbered. I need to jot this shit down, write this shit down, document what's going on, because I know I can feel this coming for me. My problem lands squarely with Ray.
Why?
Because Ray had more answers before he met June than he let on. It came out a little later, before Alice had died and when she started having these feelings, she went looking for a paranormal investigator.
And she found Ray.
She found Ray. And she poured her heart and soul out to Ray, who recorded it, documented it, and kept it hidden from the rest of the Palmer family.
Well, you see, that's fine. But then how do you explain like the figure behind her in the video and...
Before she dies, I believe her. I believe Alice. I believe what Alice said to lead up to her death. That's what I just said.
You just don't believe Ray?
I believe she felt something was coming for her.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you believe Alice. So it's
but
just Ray in this thing that you don't believe.
Everything after. I believe this is a case of pre-haunting, not post-haunting. I don't think this is the regular hauntings we talk about. I don't think this is someone dies and their ghost comes back. I think this is an energy warning Alice that her days are numbered. I think this is like the Grim Reaper was coming for Alice.
Okay.
And she could feel the Grim Reaper coming and she was documenting this and she told this to Ray. Ray intentionally did not let the family know that he had consulted with Alice. And afterwards he claimed it was because of privacy issues. You know, I keep it confidential. But he then had the upper hand going into the case to feed that family the information he wanted to feed them. Which again is
fair enough, but what about the videos that they couldn't explain then after the death?
See, the thing about it is, so much of it was... Right,
no, 100% so much was faked. But then how... But like,
what
about the video where they're all sitting in the sitting room, but there's shadows?
But again... Like I said, if I put a camera in every room of this house for one solid week, I guarantee you we could run all the footage back and not be able to explain from just that footage everything we see.
Do you want to hear something creepy?
Within that footage.
And this is in agreement with you. There was, you know, those sleep recording apps. There was one night myself and my friend were sleeping in the same room and we said that we would use it for the crack, see what it was like. So we played it back the next morning and she goes, no, don't touch her. At about like 4:30 in the morning when the two of us were.
But this is what I'm saying.
And it's obviously just sleep talking.
And again, earlier on, we talked about the 3 knocks that we heard.
Yeah.
We can't explain it, but never else is happening in this house. So we'd have to believe that there was just some sort of coincidence that fucking happened.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm saying here is that Alice Palmer definitely had some form
Premonition.
of paranormal fucking experience happen to her that was leading to the end of her life.
Mm.
What I'm saying about Ray is he's a trickster who used the Palmer family, used the information Alice gave him to then continue to bleed money from the Palmer family and encourage, because you know earlier as well that I said that when the neighbor broke into the house to try and get the tape, Matthew was off with Ray, making videotapes for fucking Ray. Ray had his fingers in every fucking one of those family members' pies. He was controlling all of them.
Everything.
And it was to try and, I think, help his career. And I think he used this family, their grief and their pain, to help him look legitimate.
Probably.
That's not to take anything away from what Alice herself experienced.
But Ray is the fraud here, is what you're saying.
But Ray is a fraud, and I think he fucked with this family.
It's
and
very hard to
mess
take
with this family,
mediums
boys.
sometimes. Like,
If you are in a place of grief,
Mm.
and you're missing someone to that level, there's a lot you're willing to fucking accept that you wouldn't in a rational mind.
Mm.
There's a lot of stuff that you would see that a rational mind might be able to say, okay, well, maybe it's just that. Or maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just that. When you want something so bad, like your child back, or just a chance to communicate with your child, to say goodbye to your child when you didn't get a chance, to make sure they're not suffering, to make sure they're in a better place, you're going to believe anything that's handed to you. And I believe this man, Ray, was playing these people the whole fucking time. From the minute Alice walked through his door to the minute he found out Alice was dead, he was like, okay. And when June shows up at the door next, it's like, holy fucking shit, cha-ching.
Not to discredit them, but I mean, like, we've seen it time and time again with mediums. Saturday Night Live just did a skit on that American medium, and I've seen videos of her since. And just to go back to what you said of wanting to accept anything during grief, there was one woman who stood up and said, we haven't been able to find my father. He died in 2001 and we still haven't found him, and it just kills me. And before she could go on any further with the story, the medium said, he's in water. You'll find him in water. Do you know what the poor lady turned around and said to her?
What?
He died in the Twin Towers. Yeah, your one turned around and goes,
What was this in?
This is just the read. Remember Saturday Night Live did the skit of this psychic, but I've seen videos from this psychic in real life, and she still turned around and said, well, he found his way to water somehow. And the woman goes, okay, thank you for it, as if she was taking it all on board. It's like, girl, your dad died in the Twin Towers, like, and you're accepting what this person is saying to you.
But it's a way of dealing with grief. And that's what I do
Yeah.
believe. That's my take in this. I think we did talk about a paranormal experience today. I think we talked about Alice Palmer being chased by the Grim Reaper. And she's one of these people who saw the Reaper coming.
Yeah.
Rest of us, it comes as a surprise. She saw it coming too long before she should have seen it coming. I think Ray took advantage of the family afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm a big guy. I love these paranormal investigators. I'd love to go out and do paranormal investigating. I wouldn't be a pussy and run out of the fucking places the first hello from the fucking thing. They could tell me to fuck off if they want, but I ain't going nowhere. I'll stand right there and
until there is an immediate threat to my life. That's when I go. If like knives start coming flying at me, then it's like fair enough. But if they're just like a few bits of banging, do you know? I mean, what else are you there for?
Responding to my questions.
Why are you there? Like, do you know?
But when it comes to these mediums and stuff like that, I think sometimes maybe take it with a pinch of salt and take it as the fun that it might be instead of a way of dealing with your grief. There's healthier ways of dealing with grief.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
But in the end, I suppose, Lake Mungo, it does remain a place of quiet reflection, and it's a physical and emotional landscape of mystery, loss, and unanswered questions. But more than that, it's a reminder that the stories left behind by the living and the dead can sometimes speak louder than any words we can ever say.
And occasionally they whisper things that will keep you up at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if your own shadow is behaving normally.
And the Palmer family continues to live with their memories and their recordings. Some days the house is quiet and other days the lights flicker. And sometimes, just sometimes, They feel Alice's presence, watching, guiding, and reminding them that she's still part of their lives.
That's a happy ending, isn't
That
it?
is happy to know
Well,
that she's kind of considering. Like, it'd be happier if she hadn't died, but the fact that she's still inserted into the family home, and maybe little whispers of mom or something just going bang in the middle of the night, like,
Yeah, it's not my ideal fucking summer holiday, but
No.
what can you do?
Exactly. And so we leave Lake Mungo, the Lake Mungo case here, unresolved, chilling, but profoundly human. Because sometimes the dead aren't gone. They're waiting patiently in the corners of the room we think are empty.
And remember, next time your mate says, delete my browser history if I die, do it, because they might find your fucking orgy tapes, man.
Exactly. On your browser? Why are you uploading them?
OnlyFans/the
That's a lot of
doctor.
passports you gotta get. Aye.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want more horror and crime fun, then head on over to patreon.com/the Horrorverse Network and check out our bonus shows. It's a live action because tomorrow we'll be dropping our bonus show episode where we look at paranormal investigating, the history, the tools, and the men and women that made it happen.
I'm looking forward to that.
So
That's
am
going
I.
to be a fun
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And again, I like paranormal. Because I'd hate for someone like fucking the guys from Puka Vogue or something like that to see this episode and think I'm fucking
Oh,
sly.
absolutely not. No,
Yeah, that's
no,
not
no,
shy.
no.
I just think mediums, because I know they believe in mediums and stuff. I think,
Well, I know the
I
lads
have
from Puka
yet
Vogue
to
don't
meet-
run from banging. Do you know?
yeah, I have yet to meet a medium who can convince me. Yeah, I'm open to having my mind changed.
There are a few
like to
questions
have
I'd
my mind
ask
changed.
that if I know
Yeah.
could be answered.
I
yeah.
mean, I'd love to have my mind changed. There's nothing I would like more than confirmation that there's something more. That's what everybody wants. But to this point, to this day, I have yet to see a psychic medium that really makes me believe
There is
that
one
they're not.
medium
bullshit.
I believe in.
Oh, God. Who?
No, I told you about this. The story when we were in secondary school. And my friend, basically her mom went to see a medium, and the medium said, look, there's going to be 2 pregnancies in your family before Christmas. So my friend's older sister was already on the pill, and my friend got put on the pill because we were 16 at the time. And then next thing, shit hits the fan at Christmas time. First of all, they found out that the older brother, he's like in his 20s, his girlfriend's pregnant, so that's fine. But her younger brother, who's like 15 at the time, gets into this really shitty mood and drives off Christmas Day, and he comes back and he's like, my girlfriend's pregnant, and they're very young, and that's when the penny dropped. It wasn't the girls at all. The pregnancies were with the sons.
You find out that medium, I will go see that medium, and we will
Because
see.
that's a funny twist. You could have let them know
Or
though it was
better
going to
yet,
be the
we'll
sons.
find that medium, try get them on the fucking show and see if they can convince me. I am open.
Absolutely.
Any medium out there who feels like they can take on the doctor and prove to me that this is all legit, or at least they're legit, I will listen to. I will give you a platform, and I will eat
Fairly,
my motherfucking
though,
hat.
You know, we would be fair. We,
Oh, yeah. I won't take the piss
absolutely.
out of him. I won't
No,
slag him.
no.
But I will grill them.
I
will
have
get one
my
of these
set
fancy
questions. I
little
know what
fucking
I'd
lights
ask,
we
and
have
I
behind
would,
here,
yeah.
and it'd be right in your fucking face. And I'd be like, oh, you tell me, where were you fucking?
Don't do that.
Oh no, I'm gonna grill them hard. Make them sweat. They don't sweat, they're not gonna fucking tell me the truth. When they pee their pants, that's when I'll believe them. So while you're over at Patreon and while I'm making mediums pee their pants, you can check out some exclusive shows like Amy's Horrific History podcast, Playing with Bones, and my show, Celebrity Rap Sheet. We are now on part 2 of the O.J. Simpson, Life and Crimes of O.J. Simpson, and part 3 coming next Tuesday. So we are kind of in amongst the trial and the verdict now, and the aftermath is coming, and it ain't pretty.
Yep.
But go check that out. It is up and ready for your listening pleasure right now. So fill those ear holes with some OJ.
All
The
that
juice.
and mini monsters are available now at the Horrorverse Network on Patreon. Subscribe now for only a $5 a month with a 7-day free trial for all new subscribers. And if you're into gaming, you can catch me on Twitch every Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight Irish time. So that's 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's on Twitch at Amy Rose 9.
And we are on all social media at Alive Alive Pod and at Amy Rose IAA. We'll be back next week with more tales from the Horrorverse. See y'all then. Same Alive Alive time, same Horrorverse channel. Okay, love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.